We have too much entertainment, we haven't watched it. We have too many clothes and they're cluttering up our wardrobes. Our houses are full of stuff. So people feel such clutter that they only want things that are hyper-personalized to the thing they actually need, because otherwise they feel, that it's going to be another thing that they're not using. So by selling a customer needs analysis, when people see that it's a perfect fit, then they want to buy.
In my last book, The Diary of a CEO 33 Laws, I talk about the idea that friction can create value. And I give examples of where someone has added friction to the customer process and it's resulted in more people buying. And one of the studies I talk about is where they took two groups of people. They exposed one of them to a survey in order to enter a discussion group, right? So they had to go through this survey process to get in. And they let the second group straight into the discussion group.
Yep.
And then they asked both groups to rate how valuable and enjoyable they found the discussion group to be. Now, the group that had to go through a survey to get in reported that the discussion group was like really interesting, et cetera, et cetera. And the group that had been let straight in reported that it was boring. And it was an intentionally boring group. So they made an intentionally boring group. But just because you made someone go through a process to get in, people reported that it was more valuable than otherwise, which says something about our psychology.
Well, friction does create value. Demand and supply tension is the ultimate test of value. It's horrible to say, and I hate this being true, but there is no such thing as objective value. Nothing is objectively valuable. Everything is subjective. Why is a Bitcoin worth what a Bitcoin is? Because there's more buyers than sellers. There's demand and supply tension. Why is water free? Because it's freely available. There's no friction. Why do we never stop and think about how incredible it is that we have Google Maps? And we go oh my goodness, someone spent $1 billion sending satellites up so that I can have maps on my phone for free. No one's weeping tears of joy for Google Maps, and we should be, because someone spent $1 billion on our behalf, so we've got free maps on our phone, but there's no friction around it. Now, if they suddenly said we're taking it away, we'd hit the roof. And if they said it's $10 a month, we'd pay $10 a month. So friction creates value. Demand and supply tension creates value. Now, the very difficult thing that we have in the world right now is that in a digital environment, there's no natural tension, right? So 100 million people can watch a video in a week and, it transcends time, space, wear and tear. There's no barriers. There's nothing that stops it. The money accumulates around those tension points. So the successful businesses, they know how to use the digital environment to drive up demand and manufacture desire and manufacture demand. And then they have choke points in their business or tension points in their business where demand and supply tension is rife, and those are the places where they monetize.